Welcome to Speaking Prowess. Are you ready to supercharge your communication skills and achieve unstoppable success?
Here he walks with purpose in his stride. Sifu, Rafael, shining bright and...
Welcome to Speaking Prowess, the show that supercharges your communication and fuels unstoppable success. Sifu Rafael, visionary founder and world-renowned master instructor, elevates leaders into unforgettable communicators who command the room and inspire action. Alongside him is Scott Schilling, the authentic connector, a business growth expert with 40 years of experience, empowering audiences to rise higher, succeed faster, and thrive with purpose. Together they bring you the strategies, insights, and inspiration to amplify your voice, expand your influence, and unlock your true potential. This is Speaking Prowess. Your journey to communication mastery starts now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Scott, happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday. We are here live and in action.
I know. That first video that started, that was my old video. And I was like, what? I messed up. So I said, I can fix it.
I thought that might be the case, actually.
Yeah, but you know what happens is that it just goes to show that nobody's perfect, especially this guy right here.
Well, the funniest part, had you not told everybody that, the only one who really knew it was you. And so that's one of the things, speaking from stage, people sit there and say, oh, but I forgot this line.
Who cares?
And who knew?
But I rather come out and say it because it allows people to understand that, hey, you know what? We make mistakes. We're human. I'm not AI.
Stuff happens. I don't know. With as many shows as you do, I think you are AI sometimes. But
come on now. You know what? I'm super excited. We have two truly, truly incredible people. And today we're going to be talking about the power of strategy and leadership, and who better to be here with us than Randy and Sheila. Let's go ahead and bring them in. Good afternoon. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yes. So what does that mean? Say that again.
I said we have a quorum.
We do. What does that mean to you, the power of strategy? Anybody? Go for it.
For me, it is the difference between tactics and strategy. People who have a long game have strategy. People who have tactics are always looking for the next thing. They're always in chaos, and they don't think long term.
I have to say that some people love chaos. Love it.
But do you really thrive in chaos, or do you just enjoy looking busy?
Good point.
Wow. Mic drop right out of the blocks. Okay, Randy, beat that.
When I think of that, I see two visuals. I see spaghetti and I see a dartboard. You take spaghetti, you throw it on the wall. Some would call it strategy, but they're just trying stuff. But when you got a dartboard, when you got a clear goal and you know what your target is, that's a strategy, that you know what you're aiming for. And you also can measure, okay, am I hitting it? Am I getting closer to it, or am I not? Well, when you throw the spaghetti on the wall, you're just like, let's see what sticks. And most of it eventually falls off the wall, and you just have a big mess they got to clean up. And having a strategy is like having that dartboard with a clear plan, but being willing to adjust the plan and not getting stuck, being attached to the plan. Because I know that's something that I have to fight, is getting attached to the plan and not keeping focused on the purpose.
It's very funny because a lot of people throw spaghetti at the dartboard and think they think they have it together. Maybe a meatball hits it, maybe it doesn't. Depends on the kind of spaghetti. But I love the analogy and the clear mind that you will have, right? Because you're only holding one dart at a time when you're throwing it at the board. You're throwing spaghetti, it could be a handful, it could be two handfuls, it could be the whole bowl. So I love the analogy and pinpointing it, if you will, being that it's a dart.
You know, Sheila, I've known you for a long time, and I know your absolute strength is strategic planning and having step-by-step process to go along with it. And also as a military veteran, I'm sure some of it came from there, but where'd your genius come together?
So Randy was talking about the spaghetti versus the dart. And for me, I go to the military thinking, and for me, it's sniper versus buckshot. And and so when I look at it, I know that strategy is that piece. It's that overarching plan, because when it comes to business, you have lots of pieces that work together. And if you're always working on the tactics, then all the different tactics you're working on don't necessarily work together. And with this strategy, you have that overarching umbrella, and then it should be a layered approach where each of the pieces work together. And it almost is like a puzzle where all the pieces fit in order to get more out of everything you do. If you are doing all these one-off tactics, then you never get the momentum you need. And you're also, again, not looking long-term. So for military, the process is that backwards planning process. You have an overarching objective, you have that strategy, and then you plan backwards to meet that objective. And it's about doing the numbers, it's about doing the math and making sure that you look at making sure that the strategy matches up with your goals and objectives, and all the tactics in between are the things that are measurable that help you get there.
Love that. No buckshot.
No buckshot.
No, I think that's so true. You know, we tend to actually am working on this with a client right now. They have so many outside vendors that have to come together. And the reality is the vendors are doing the vendor thing, and each one is doing their thing very well, but it's not doing this very well necessarily all the time because there's so many outside choices. How do we get around things like that when it comes to strategy and implementation?
I think one of the best terms they came up with in the marketing arena is integrated marketing, where you look at what are all the channels that you can use, but it all has to integrate into the final outcomes. And you look at that in the same way when you look at your business plan.
Wait, business plan? You mean people actually look at it once they write it? Huh.
Well,
That's a concept. Wow, look at that.
Well, you're inferring that they actually write it.
Oh, no. There are people who go out of business while they are writing their business plan because it takes them so long. Business plans, just like strategies, can be changed if they are not working. But you, one, have to write them down, because if you don't write them down, it's not goals and objectives. It's called wishes and dreams, and they're kind of like butterflies and unicorns. When it comes to a strategy, you write them down, you have a plan, you have goals and objectives, and from there, you measure it. You then look at that measurement, you make adjustments to your plan and move forward. I keep the goals and objectives for my business plan on my blotter on my desk so that I look at it. And if there is a minute that I don't have something planned in my day, I look to see, what have I not done on my deliverables to get to my goals and objectives.
Wow, love that. I got to tell you, I won. Ooh, look at that. So I've
You
been
won. That
and
bell was because you won, Steve.
So I won something that I was dealing with the Mets, the New York Mets. And the only reason I won is because they asked for a business plan. And I was the only one that was able to deliver one. And I was competing with a bunch of other people. And they're like, we love your business plan. I'm like, why, thank you. And they're like, so we're going with you. I'm like, wow, look at that. I go, how about the other people? They're like, they didn't have a business plan. I'm like, really? I said, huh. So yes, business plans. Sometimes you're doing them for yourself, like Sheila just talked about. She has it there so she can see what you need to do, but also it can help somebody else see your vision because not everybody's in your head. And somebody keeps coming in. Somebody wants to chime. Come on in. Stop ringing the bell.
That's exactly it. They're loving your brilliance there, Sifu. That's what it is. Randy, what's your take on all this?
Well, I love what Sheila said about the puzzle, and a piece of that puzzle is, like, I think about us building a puzzle. I don't know about you guys, but when I build a puzzle, I'll put the top right there so I can see it, because I can remember where I'm going, because I can get stuck looking at the puzzle, get stuck in the weeds of all the pieces and get frustrated and want to just quit. So having that picture in front of us all the time, the plan will adjust, and having that in front of us, but hopefully the vision of where you're going is pretty stable. It may grow, it may expand, but you know what you're trying to build, you know where you're trying to go. And then the other piece is, within an organization, within a team, you gotta communicate the plan. Like, sometimes in an organization, I've been in situations where it's just like, where are we going? And then I'm frustrated because I'm trying to lead, but I don't have enough clarity from those above me to know where are we going. And that may be because they don't have clarity, and I just need to take a chill pill and just be okay with the ambiguity. Or there needs to just be some communication, whether it's casting vision, whether it's cascading the vision down, or just some type, and there may be a strategy behind that, or a process that needs to be put in place. There's a client that I work with helping them with their kind of every company has an operating system, whether they know it or not, and some need to make it more formal. And part of that is just a regular rhythm of communicating and thinking into the strategy. Where do you want to adjust the plan? What needs to be tweaked? Keeping the puzzle picture in front of you. All those pieces fit together, because we can have the greatest plan, just like you guys are saying, but it may just be sitting there on a desk. No one ever pays attention to it. So you got to have a regular communication rhythm, keeping the big picture in front of you in order for the plan to actually be executed. And somebody that'll hold you accountable. I'm sure Sheila does a great job at holding people up accountable to, hey, execute the plan.
So for me, I look at your comments, Randy, about communication and clarity. So those are two essential pieces in the strategy, because what I tell my clients regularly, if you can't explain it, they won't buy it. So you have to look through, and is your messaging clear and concise? Are you communicating it? Not only that, are you saying it, but are people receiving it the way you think they are receiving it, in order to be able to understand it and understand your value proposition? Communications and clarity is the most important part of your messaging.
I think it's interesting that you said the receiver side. So many people work so hard on the presentation side, which is certainly warranted, but you've got to use receivers' language. It's about them. It's going to them. And Randy, you said a couple words that I want to make sure. You said it, I heard it, loved them. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's make sure everybody else does. You said casting the vision and cascading the vision. Can you share a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, actually, I learned about the second recently, because I was like, somebody leads me, and I'm like, did you? I like kind of text them back. Did you mean to say casting? And they're like, nope. They're like, I'm just delivering it down. Like, this is casting the vision is, it's my vision. I'm trying to paint the picture for you to see. Let me help you see where we're going. Cascading is, you're in the middle of the organization, you're in the middle of the team, and you're conveying the vision from someone else. Are you bought into the vision? Maybe not. You're cascading it down. You're communicating it down to other people. When I learned that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Now there's another more crude way that cascading could be put, but I'll just keep that one to myself. A boss once said it to me. He's like, stuff rolls downhill sometimes, but but that, I don't think true cascading of vision is, you're bought into what the leadership is promoting and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going. But you got to cascade the communication down clearly, to Sheila's point, clearly, so that people understand it. I mean, I'm not an ex-military. Sure, I have a feeling Sheila knows a lot about that, the difference between the two.
I gotta, first of all, thank you, Sheila, for your service. And when I love what you talked about, it kind of rolls downhill, and it's effortless sometimes when it rolls downhill. But for it to roll uphill, there's got to be some effort. Got to be some G-force sometimes. Somebody has to either push it up or it has to come up from when it rolled down and then rolled up to the other hill. And when we think about flying, right? An airport, or not an airport, a pilot, if they're blinded, it's dark, they can't see anything, they can still guide that plane. But that plane can also be flying upside down. And but what if a commercial liner, and the guy said, you know what, I can't see anything, I'll just fly it this way. And then the effect that's going to be on everyone else in that plane, it's going to be, oh my God, we're hitting the ceiling. But they're still flying. It's just not being delivered the way they want it. Just thought I'd share that with you. That popped into my head when we were talking about deliverables, right? Because not everybody understands what we're delivering sometimes. And so we have to set ourselves back a little bit and make sure that, and like Scott, you talked about being on a stage, you can say all you want, but if the people are not following along, you lost them.
Yeah, it tends to happen when people get too technical. And one of the encouragements I give people is to start at a 5th grade level. You can always go more technical, but if you lose them because you've got industry speak, or you are, using such specific terminology, they'll go, and then it comes time to take action, they go, And the reason is they have no clue what you just said.
Right. So are you saying that we don't need to go past 5th grade?
Not what I said at all, Sifu, but
Thanks
for the clarification, because this seems to be a portion about clarification. No, I mean, the reality is people tend to talk over the top. They tend to get, they want to pound their own chest. I'm the authority on this topic, and hey, nobody cares. So the point is, just share the piece of information so they can absorb it. That's why I think it's in Randy said 2 words that many people know, or 2 concepts that many people know, but there's potential for people not to know. That's why you go back to Sheila's point on clarity, right? How many times when there's Sheila, this has never happened to you, right? That you've got this brilliant marketing strategy and somebody you're delivering it to may or may not grab 100% of it. Has that ever happened?
It does happen. It happens regularly that people can't visualize. So you look for multiple ways of communicating in order to get it across. And sometimes it is how you paint a picture. Other times it's telling it as a story. And other times it's blocking it and showing them the numbers.
Very cool.
Yeah. Sometimes even walking them through it, because they don't get the feeling for it, right?
I use a tool called the day in the life of. And so I take it from a consumer's point of view on how they are interacting throughout their day, how they, for an example, an event where I'm doing a huge event, people are coming to the event. What are they doing prior to the event? How did they get there? What are they seeing? What are they smelling? What are they tasting? Who are they around? But then how are they walking through the interaction? What are they touching, smelling? Again, using all of their senses. How long do they stay someplace based on interaction or messaging or just enjoyment of something? And by figuring that all out, you find the points of relevancy and where people are most relevant to or most open to hearing your message and where they are able to actually do something about it. Just because they see your message or hear it, they're not always at a place where they can take action. And if they can't take action, then you've missed the window because they see so many things every day that by the time they can take action, they've forgotten about it. And there's a dozen other things they have to take action on.
Absolutely. I had a kid that wanted to do boxing lessons with me, and he had done it 2 years ago. And he comes in and I said, well, it's been a while. Why don't I take a look and see how you move? And he started moving. And he goes, before he starts, he goes, I've trained with many people, and you're the only one that told me to do this. And I love it. And even other people have asked me why you do that. And then he explained the way I explained it. And then I said to him, I said, thank you for that. And now let's fix what you got going on now, because something is missing here. And so during the lesson, I was able to look at his body and tell him how to adjust, because in his mind, like many people in their mind, they have an idea of what it is, but it takes someone else's vision to say, fix this, do that, change this. And I think that what we're all talking about here is, how do we portray our vision to someone so that they can experience it? And when I finished with this kid, he laid down. It was kind of funny. And then he hung around for like 30 minutes, just huffing and puffing. And then he's like, I want to bring my other friends and do more sessions with you. I'm like, that's fine. But I gave him something tangible that he can walk away with. And I think that's when we deliver something. That's really what somebody's looking for. What can they get from the exchange that we had with them?
Randy, how do you implement that in what you're doing day to day?
How do I implement helping people see the vision? Or
yeah, sure, just see the vision or guide them along the way, or really help them with their strategy. Again, you referred to leadership before, and this is both about the power of strategy and leadership.
Yeah. So what I find is we when we're in the frame, we can't really see very clearly when we're in the picture frame. And so being that outside voice to help people by just simply asking questions and and out of curiosity, not out of judgment, not trying to lead them to a certain place, but just asking them questions to help them think, okay, where could this be? Where could your organization be? What do you need? Okay, you have a plan. You're stuck here. You said you want to execute on this piece and you're stuck here. What are some options? What are options that you have? Not me telling them, because I can't tell them. I work with clients in all different types of sectors that if I were trying to mentor them, it'd be a train wreck because I don't understand their world. But I can create a space where they can think into their options and create a safe space where, quite honestly, some leaders, they don't have another space to go to think into. Hey, I to admit, because every leader, unless they're delusional, doesn't know what they're doing on some level. So they need a safe space to think into, okay, how do we do this? How do we get from where we are to where we want to be? Or they're overwhelmed. I think about what Sheila was saying with the marketing plan. Like, I can only imagine that people just get stuck. They don't do it because it's like, this is too much. And I bet, just take, what's the next step? What's the first step? And that's what I can help, what I'll kind of walk alongside those leaders and help them think, okay, what's the best next step? And then how are you going to execute it? And then hold them accountable to that plan that they are creating. Because leaders get too busy and caught up in the whirlwind of the doing that they don't create the space to stop and think. And thinking is critical for a leader. You've got the plan, like we were talking about at the beginning, the strategy. Now, where are you on it? And where do you need to adjust? And just walking alongside them, help them create that space for them to think into their results and get from where they are to where they want to be.
Very true.
You're smiling. Tell us why Randy's words put a big smile on your face.
I love that leaders need to have time to think. They also need to have time to listen. Very often in organizations, people are surrounded by people who have, and don't take this as a negative, they have their own intellectual reasons for wanting things to happen. They have buy-in in all of this, so they don't want to look bad. So they're going to tell the owner of a company or the CEO of a company what that person wants to hear, or it's a rah-rah type session. And instead, very often, you need to talk to some of the junior members and find out if there are ways to implement cost-saving strategies. Are there ways to streamline processes to make us more effective or more efficient? All of those things. You never want it to create it as an opportunity for people to gripe, but instead you want to take it for the context that it is, that the people who are at the ground level very often have insights that never make it to senior management. And when there is clear communications that rolls downhill and uphill, it allows people to, one, take all of that into consideration instead of those who have vested interests in a particular success model.
That's good, Sheila. Just that ability to have that the leader has the humility to say, hey, I don't know it all. I got an idea. I got a plan. Here is the plan we did think of, but what am I missing? I mean, that they'll listen to the front lines, they'll create space, and they'll even listen to others around the table with them. There's a story about Intel, and he would have these executive meetings, and they may disagree. They may disagree with things, but they said, hey, when we leave this door, we may be disagreeing, but we're committed to the plan. We'll disagree and commit. But you got to have the humility to say, okay, my idea may not be the best idea. And it's healthy to have disagreement. If everybody's saying the same thing, I mean, sorry, I could go off. I thought Alan Mulally in at Ford, if you've ever read that book about him, and he implemented these meetings, these strategic meetings, and they were supposed to say red, yellow, or green in their area. And for a couple of meetings, like everybody's like green, green, green. And finally one guy said there's a problem, and everybody's looking like, oh, he's gonna be gone tomorrow. But no, he wasn't. And because they were speaking the truth, and Alan Mulally was encouraging that, which was counter to the culture that existed before. It's huge. It's huge to have that type of space where people can communicate. You can lead up and speak candidly and respectfully, and also the leader is listening down. So I love what you're saying there, Sheila.
I feel like you have to set expectations when you're hiring your team at the lowest level all the way up. One of the questions I ask some of my team members in interviews is, how would you tell me I'm wrong? Like, if we are sitting in a meeting, we are talking about a project, and I'm making a decision, and you think I'm wrong, correct me, tell me I'm wrong. And they have to be able to tell me I'm wrong, because they should know the details at a level I never want to know. I shouldn't know. And if I do, I'm doing their job and I don't need them. But at the same time, when we get done talking and a decision is made, we all get on board and we own it.
That's powerful when you think about the leaders who truly lead. They take everybody's ideas, opinions, critical thinking into account, and it becomes more of a mastermind, I think, when we're doing that. But then there's also some leaders who fail at doing any of that, and I don't even know why they have meetings, because nobody's voices are heard anyway, right? And I've been in those meetings. And I've been in those, and I'm like, nope, can't say anything. No, can't say, because it didn't matter. Nobody can speak because it was the leader, and he just wanted everybody to hear what he wanted to say. So why even waste everybody's time with a meeting, right? Because think of it's a dictatorship in a business setting, right? And I've never seen any business really succeed globally when it's that.
I think there's a big thing that, you've got to be able to take input. Back in the corporate days, I had an open door policy. I said, you can walk in my office and tell me I'm full of crap anytime you want. You just better have a solution to fix it. Because you can't possibly see everything. Like Sheila was saying, you can't possibly be in the intimate details of every part of it every day, because if you are, then you're not doing the leading from above. You're not doing the strategic vision and putting those things into place. You're working in your business. You're being operational in it, and so you've got to be able to do that. And I think that's when there's a free, I say it every time to my coaching clients, and when we've got a prospective new coaching client, I said, are you okay hearing what you need to hear, not what you want to hear? Because if you're not, then it's not going to do anybody any good. Right? Yeah. So
the other question I ask clients is, do you want to hear bad news early and often, or do you want to wait until your team has a solution? For me, I believe that we'll get to a solution, but the longer it takes for somebody to tell me there's a problem, it just means I have less time to work on it. And if you look at an organization and your senior people have the most experience, and your junior people who identify and have to find the solutions are very often the least experienced in the group. So if there is an issue, send the red flag up early because it just means I have more time to fix it. And it's not necessarily I do, but it's that I can help formulate a plan to find a solution, or say, yes, I've seen this before and it's not an issue. But I would rather know there's a problem than moving forward with something and thinking everything is go, and all of a sudden having to redo work because we didn't identify it early enough.
I think with what you're saying too, when you communicate it up and the leader is aware of it, they got to manage a tension that not to jump in and solve it, but they are aware. So then they can kind of check in and be like, hey, everything good? You need anything? And then they can be available in case they need kind of a little wisdom or a little insight. But they have to be careful not to. Some personalities would jump into it. Some would just be like, well, figure it out. Don't talk to me until you got a solution. But being aware, but on the bottom, in the rookie level or the less experienced level, then they're like, well, can I tell? Can I not? But now we're getting into a whole conversation around what's the culture look like. But back to the whole thing at the beginning of strategy, if there's not that communication up and down, you're never going to execute the strategy. If there's a bump in the road and they're afraid to tell the leader because they're going to go fly off the handle, well, hey boss, we're 5 weeks away from our deadline, but we hit this hiccup. They're less likely to react and more likely to respond and say, thanks for the heads up. They may ignore it. They may get in it. Who knows? But that the awareness the leader has to have and how to communicate, how to show up, to not shut down their development and learning how to grow is key.
I love this conversation because it reminds me of when you hire somebody who is used to not speaking up, not getting in trouble, if you will, by the higher ups. And so what I've done in the past is I reward them when they tell us something is wrong. And now they're looking for what's wrong, which is great, which is a really good thing, because in the long run, that saves me money.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the bottom line, and like Sheila said, the sooner I know, the better it is. And so now they're rewarded when they can find a problem that's going to save money down the line. And then all of a sudden they're getting compensated for it. They're like, wow, all I have to do is look for problems. I'm like, yeah, you're my extra set of eyes. So when they walk into one of my businesses, I go, what do you see? They're looking around. Oh, everything looks great. I said, I don't want you to see the great things. I see what's wrong. Look for what's wrong so we can make it better for someone else who's a customer, somebody else who's not a customer, but they're walking in and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I like this, or I like that. Oh, I don't like this. So you need to come in with fresh eyes every time you come in, and let's fix any little problems. Because one of my places is 10,000 square feet. And when people walk in, if there's a problem, if they see dirt or anything like that, then I may be wanting to come back. I'm one of those people that I walk into a place, I'm looking everywhere. I'm a problem finder all the time. And it could be, I can even go into somebody's house and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look safe. You have kids, although your kids are going to get hurt on that. And they're like, stop it. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
Guess we're not inviting you to our house.
That's right. They need martial arts.
I'll come in like this.
Sifu, you reminded me of back when I was a young plebe on the retail sales floor. One of my accounts, 150,000 square foot furniture appliance store. And the owner said, come on, we're going to find every missing button. And I said, what? He said, we're going to walk the floor and we're going to identify every missing button off the back of a couch or different things. And I said, how are we going to do that? And he said, we're going to look. And I said, there's got to be more to it to that. He said, we're going to focus on what's missing. And it's the reticular activation system. It was the first true life implementation or lesson of the reticular activation system. Now, it does find good as well, but whatever you focus on, you find. And we were able to walk the floor that day, and we found 8 missing buttons on just hundreds of 100,000 square feet of furniture. It was crazy. And I was like, that can't possibly work. He goes, look, there's one right there. I'm like, wow. But it's amazing how the brain and what we're set with strategy and leadership. And that's why the casting the vision becomes so important, right? If we cast the vision and we tell people what to look for. I love the analogy that you had earlier, Randy, about the box. That when we take the puzzle apart, we've got the picture of what we're working to put together. Mm-hmm. And so we can visualize, oh, geez, there's some pieces missing over here. We can now work on that because we have an idea of what to work on. I mean, I think there's been a number of great metaphors throughout this entire show.
One of the things that I do when I'm training people to become trainers, instructors, and so forth, I say to them, you need to be able to look for what's wrong, but then you also need to be able to look for what's right. Because if we're talking and we're dealing with people and they're doing something wrong, we need to correct them, and there's a way to correct them. But if they're doing something right, we also have to let them know. But we don't want to overly tell them for every second that they're doing something, because all of a sudden their confidence goes way up, and then they're going to start to dwindle down to, oh, I'm great, I'm this, I'm that. And they still need to be aware of themselves. So when I train trainers, that's one of the most important things I do is I watch them watching others. And then I'll come back and I'll say, did you see what they did? What are you talking about? Like, this, that. Oh, I didn't see it. I said, well, that's why you're being trained. So you can have that eye, right?
The military has 2 ways of dealing with that. And one is a saying that you praise publicly and you criticize in private. Mm-hmm. But a SWOT analysis is, so the Army calls it an after action review, but you have to give what is good, what could be improved upon, what you want to keep functioning the way it's supposed to, and then what things we need to trash basically and start over on.
You gotta, there's a tension there. Sorry, you're making me think of, I was helping somebody facilitate a training.
I'm going to let you finish that point, and then we're going to wind up having to end, but thank you. So go ahead. I apologize. I was muted, so I apologize. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Go, Randy.
We're going to give Sheila the floor because she's going to talk to us about how incredible she is. Well, we know already. And then she's going to tell us how to reach out to her. And then you're going to go. But finish that point, please.
Long story short, police department, after action review, an hour of just critical feedback, not any positive. Mm-hmm. And there's you gotta have both. They only were in one of those 4 quadrants you just talked about. and it's so, because of our human nature, even if we want candid feedback, we gotta balance, like Sifu was talking about, you gotta balance the what's going well with the constructive feedback to help keep things moving forward and people moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Randy. Sheila, young lady, tell us about when somebody goes to your website, what can they expect?
So I have an experiential marketing company. We do big, crazy events, whether it be national tours, it can be sampling programs, but it is about meeting consumers with products or services face to face to create real engagement. I'm also a fractional CMO, so you will find that I have a ton of clients where I take the learnings from working with some of the biggest corporations in the world and how to use those strategies and then the tactics to help small companies grow it at the level and the trajectory that they're looking for. So I am available at MOGXP.com, and my email is Sheila@MOGXP.
Love it. Love it. And Sheila's going to have to help me because I was supposed to play a commercial, but this conversation was so good, I never played it. So see, you guys, I need help. I need help. Randy, you're up, my friend.
Yeah, so if you go to leadwell.biz, you'll be able to take a leadership assessment. Looks at a choo-choo train that's going.
Sorry.
It'll give you an opportunity to look at 4 different areas that are key to growing your influence or your leadership, self-leadership, teamwork, and communication. And I just help those business leaders and business owners think into their leadership, improve their communication, and strengthen their teams. And feel free to reach out to me to discover if I can help serve your team and grow your leaders on your team or yourself at Randy@WheelerCoachingSystems.com.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And young man, Scott, you're up.
Yes. I help people sell more with less effort at higher margin for longer periods of time. So if any of that's attractive, we should probably talk. I also help people with their messaging and presentation and a variety of things to help them get their outbound messaging heard, but more importantly, received in the receiver's mode. So if I can ever be of service, reach out, Scott@ScottSchilling.com. Pretty simple.
Easy to find, Scott.Schilling.com. I'm easy to find too, SifuRafael.com. If you want to get in touch with your resetting your lifestyle, you go to SMB at the end because that's Sifu's Mind Body Method. That was the commercial I was going to play. But hey, guess what? That's okay. Just check it out. Thank you so much. If you found this interesting, which obviously I could not play a commercial. It was so cool. It's so interesting. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Share this show with somebody who needs to hear what we spoke about today. So thank you. God bless everybody. Wow. I am blown away by you guys. You got to come back. Version 2, version 3, all these is going to happen. So thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Randy. And I got to say, Scott, thank you for saying yes.
Absolutely. I love doing the show with you, my friend. This is fun.
All right, everybody. God bless. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy Friday.
This is Speaking Prowess,